Welcome students on your online lectures on topic phase equilibria. Today we will see a formation of compound with congruent melting point. Okay, this point is belongs to two component system. Okay, again, why it is called congruent melting point? So what is congruent melting point? The temperature at which a solid compound melts sharply into a liquid of the same composition, what is that of solid, is known as congruent melting point. Generally, all ordinary melting points are congruent melting points because the composition of the liquid and the solid phase is same. Okay, let us consider or check this diagram. This diagram is for the formation of compound with congruent melting point. This can be explained through this phase diagram. Let the A and B, okay, A and B be two points which indicates two components, okay, A and B, and the AB compound AB is a stable solid compound formed by their chemical combination. Okay, so A and B are two pure components, and AB is the compound which is formed by the combination of AB. Okay, there are three different solid phases: solid A, solid B, and compound AB. Okay, which is also a solid. So that's why there are three fusion or freezing point curves: AC, BE, that is AC for AC for solid A, BE for solid B, and CDE for the solid AB. Okay, along AC, solid A is in equilibrium with the liquid phase, whereas along BE, the solid B is in equilibrium with the liquid phase, whereas the central curve CDE, the compound AB is in equilibrium with the liquid phase at different temperatures. The maximum point D of the curve is nothing but congruent melting point of the compound AB because the solid and liquid phases have the same composition. At this temperature, two component system becomes one component because both solid and liquid phases contains only the one component, that is compound AB. Hence, according to phase rule, D is the non-variant. As we know that this would be the non-variant point. This melting point D of the compound may lie above, may be below, or in between the two melting points of component pure component A or pure component B. So let us further. There are two eutectic points. If we see the eutectic points, two eutectic points C and E. Okay, at C, at point C, solid A and compound AB, while at point E, solid B and compound AB are in equilibrium with the liquid phase, and the points are non-variant according to phase rule. It is observed that at a certain temperature, let's say T, okay, at certain temperature T, the liquid phase can have two compositions. Okay, at temperature T, if we go from CD, okay, CD plot, we will get a composition C1, and if we consider DE plot, then we will have a composition C2 in equilibrium with the same solid, that is compound AB. In other words, the compound AB can have two solubilities. Okay, composition itself indicates two solubilities, X1 and X2. Okay, X1 at this point the composition, or if we have a compound AB which in equilibrium with a liquid phase, that means itself indicates the solubility. Okay, how we can determine the composition by determining the solubility into liquid phase. That means at this point, at this temperature T, and 2 points C1 and C2, that means the same temperature, the compound AB have two different solubilities. That means two different compositions. And if we consider the solubilities, that is X1 and X2. This phenomenon of having two solubilities of the compound at the same temperature is called retroflex solubilities. This can be explained if we the if we diagram is divided into two parts. by dividing line d d dash. That is, if we first consider this left hand side half and later on right hand side, the left half of the diagram shows that the two components, that is a and ab, while the right half shows that two components, that is solid a and the ab. Okay, on LHS, that is left hand side, the curve DC represents the decrease in freezing point of the compound AB, because AC indicates the solid A and the liquid phase equilibrium, while DC will indicates the compound A, that is solid AB, and the liquid is in equilibrium. So it indicates that decrease in freezing point. That means this will indicate, DC indicates decrease in freezing point of solid AB on addition of solid A to it. While on RHS, the curve DE represents the depression in freezing point of the compound AB on the addition of solid second solid P. The horizontal lines passing through the point C and E are called as solids, since only solid phases can exist along these lines. Accordingly, we will see one of the system based on this congruent melting point is ferric chloride water system, the FeCl3H2O system, and it is, as we know, the two component system in which Fe2Cl6 and H2O, two components are present. Here, number of compounds, or in in case of FeCl3, hydrates, its hydrates forms are present with congruent melting points. Okay, with different congruent melting points. These are ferric chloride, dodecahydrate, heptahydrate, pentahydrate, and tetrahydrate. One, two, three, and four different. Okay, four different phases or solid compounds were formed in this system. The double formula, that is Fe2Cl6 instead of FeCl3, is used in order to avoid the use of a fractional number for water molecules in case of hepta and pentahydrates. That's why we have to use Fe2Cl6 formula instead of FeCl3. Now see this diagram. A, starting from A indicates the freezing point of water or melting point of ice, which is nothing but 0 degree Celsius or 273 Kelvin. On addition of small amount of FeCl3, the freezing point will decrease along the curve AB, okay, where the two phases ice and solution are in equilibrium. The degree of freedom will be 1 and the system will be invariant. On addition of further increasing quantities of FeCl3, the temperature will decreases with change in composition till the eutectic point B will be reached, where another solid, that is ferric chloride dodecahydrate will be separate out as a new solid phase. Now the system consists of three phases: is ice, ferric chloride dodecahydrate, and solution in a equilibrium. So that's why the system at this point will be non-ferric. This point is known as cryohydric point. And for this ferric chloride water system, at point P has the temperature minus 55 degrees Celsius or 218 degrees Celsius. Further, on continued addition of ferric chloride and heating, further ice will disappear and number of phases becomes 2. Okay. Now from this point B, if we heat the solution, then the ice will melt and it will try to dissolve the FeCl3 dodecahydrate, that is ferric chloride dodecahydrate, and the system will be invariant, and the temperature, as the temperature increasing, the system will reach to point C. At now, the temperature will rise with change in composition along this curve, that is BC, composition will be changed along this curve BCD, which is called as solubility curve of ferric chloride dodecahydrate. At point C, solid and liquid phases have the same composition, that is ferric chloride dodecahydrate, and the solution will have same composition. Hence, it is called as a congruent melting point of dodecahydrate. At this point, this dodecahydrate will be melted. Okay, the curve CB and CD represent the lowering of congruent melting point of dodecahydrate by adding water and ApCl3. At point D, okay, at point D, now again, as at point C, the dodecahydrate will be melted, and it will pass into the solution. Then again, if temperature is decreased along the curve CD, when a point D is reached, okay, a new solid, which is ferrichloride heptahydrate, will separate out. Okay, ferrichloride heptahydrate will separate out. Then the curve DEEF, next curve DEEF is called as solubility curve of ferrichloride heptide. Similarly, what is observed we have seen in dodecahydrate. Okay, with the congruent melting point at E. F is the third eutectic point where heptahydrate, pentahydrate, and solution in equilibrium. Hence, applying the reduced phase rule, we observe that system will be non-variant. Similar way, FGH. Okay, further FGH is the solubility curve of ferrichloride pentahydrate, where G is the congruent melting point of pentahydrate, ferrichloride pentahydrate. Further, H is the fourth eutectic point where three phases are coexist, that which are pentahydrate, tetrahydrate, and solution. Okay. Again, next, last is the HJK is the solubility curve of tetrahydrate with J as a congruent melting point. At K, anhydrous FeCl3 separates out, and K is nothing but another eutectic point, which is the fifth eutectic point. And last is Kl. Okay, so last will be the Kl is the solubility curve of anhydrous FeCl3. No other cellular phases further separates out along this curve. Okay, at last, the last at this L, at point L, will be the melting point or freezing point of Fe2Cl3 or ferric chloride. At all the congruent melting points, congruent melting point, the system is non-variant, and as two component system becomes one component system at these points. That's why they are called as non-variant non-variant. Degrees of freedom will be zero, and the system will be non-variant. So overall, if we see in ferric chloride water system, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eutectic points are present at different temperature, in which at point B, uh, point B, we have the eutectic point for dodecahydrate, point D, eutectic point for dodecahydrate and heptahydrate, point F indicates eutectic point for heptahydrate and pentahydrate, point H indicates the eutectic point of pentahydrate and tetrahydrate, and last at it, point K indicates the eutectic point of tetrahydrate and the anhydrous ferrous chloride. Whereas four congruent melting points are observed, the C gives the melting point, congruent melting points of dodecahydrate. Point E, point E indicates congruent melting point of heptahydrate. Point G indicates congruent melting point of pentahydrate, whereas the J, okay, point J indicates the congruent melting points of tetrahydrate. Okay, so this is about ferric chloride and water system, which is a nothing but two component system. Okay, so this is about ferric chloride water system. I will stop here, and the last three component system we will see in further lecture.